Okay, let's dive into a story that starts where you think people are safest, inside a prestigious Chicago hospital. But, these sterile corridors, they're holding a really deadly secret. This is a story about a brilliant surgeon's chilling deception and, believe it or not, the hunt for justice led by the very people he thought he controlled. So, our story kicks off with a silent security camera in a quiet hospital hallway. It's March 4th, just before midnight. A nurse, Anna Santos, who is by all accounts confident and just exceptional at her job, glances down the empty corridor before she pushes open the door to operating room 7. Now watch this. The timestamp changes. Just 22 minutes later, we're into March 5th, and the exact same scene plays out. A different nurse, Grace Mendoza, she takes the same cautious look around before slipping into the very same room. So you have two women, one night apart, one surgeon inside. See, both Anna and Grace were brilliant nurses who had fallen for this incredibly charismatic surgeon, Dr. Daniel Holt. And here's the kicker. Both of them believed they were the only one. He had built two completely separate lives, two identical deceptions. And for 8 months, he managed to keep them perfectly apart. But, as we all know, carefully constructed worlds like that, they have a tendency to shatter. And when these two collide, a story that starts with infidelity is going to spiral into something way, way more sinister. So what happens when the lies just aren't enough to contain the truth anymore?
To really get how this all happened, you have to understand the man at the center of it all, Dr. Daniel Holt. I mean, this guy was a celebrated cardiothoracic surgeon, 47 years old, with what looked like a picture-perfect life, a beautiful wife, a townhouse in Lincoln Park, and a reputation for being the calmest person in any room.
The precision of his deception is just chilling. On one side, you've got Anna Santos, a quiet, methodical ICU nurse from Cebu City. On the other, Grace Mendoza, a loud, instinctive ER nurse from Manila. And to both of them, Holt spun the exact same story. His marriage was a total sham, only held together for the kids. He made each woman believe that she was the only one he truly connected with in years. So for 8 months, he juggles this insane double life with careful scheduling and just meticulous lies. But then, a single medical emergency, a dissecting aortic aneurysm, was about to bring all three of them into the same room at the same time. So picture this. You're in the controlled chaos of OR 7. Grace is managing the patient's lines when Anna walks in. Their eyes meet, and in that one unguarded moment, they both watch the mask just slip from Dr. Holt's face. And it wasn't surprise or alarm they saw. No, it was cold calculation, as he instantly recalibrated, addressing Anna formally by her last name and Grace by her first. He was managing them just as much as he was managing the patient. 2 days later, they met at a coffee shop. No small talk, no pleasantries. Anna sits down, looks right at Grace, and asks the only question that mattered. How long? Grace says, 6 months. Anna replies, 8. They start swapping photos and stories and realize Holt had built the exact same house of lies for both of them, literally word for word. But this betrayal? It was just the beginning. As they're comparing notes, Anna starts to realize something is far more disturbing. See, Holt had been asking her these weird questions for months about ICU chart reviews after a patient's death, about documentation protocols, and just like that, a hunt for infidelity was turning into a full-blown murder investigation. Using Holt's own login credentials, which, by the way, he had given her to try and blur his own digital trail, Anna uncovered a terrifying pattern. The data was just cold and hard. 4 of Holt's post-op patients, all recovering well, had died suddenly. In every single case, Holt made a late-night visit, and within an hour, the patient's heart just stopped. This pattern, it wasn't natural. It was engineered. So while Anna is tracking the medical data, Grace follows the money, and she finds the motive. A staggering $280,000. And get this, it was collected in consulting fees from the families of these deceased patients. He was helping them navigate their life insurance claims for what he had the nerve to call unavoidable surgical complications. Holt was a man who planned everything, and he could sense the shift in Anna and Grace. He had noticed they were suddenly quiet after that surgery, and when he realized his whole world was about to be exposed, he moved from deception to something far more final. He cornered Anna in the hospital parking garage. He didn't yell or anything. His voice was calm as he reminded her about her work visa, about her professional standing, about how much her family back in the Philippines depended on her. He turned every single intimate detail she had ever shared with him into a weapon. Shaken but totally resolute, Anna immediately called Grace from her car. "He knows," she said. "We go to the police tomorrow morning." But tomorrow never came. Just minutes from her apartment, a truck with no headlights sped through a red light and slammed right into her car. The police, at first they just logged it as a tragic hit and run, but Grace knew. She knew it was an execution. So Anna was silenced, and Grace was terrified. I mean, Holt had just proven what he was capable of, and now she was his only remaining threat. And this brings us to the final act, one woman's paralyzing fear and her ultimate fight for justice. Holt confronted Grace in that same garage, making the same quiet threats about her visa, her career, and for 3 agonizing weeks, Grace was just paralyzed. She had the USB drive with all of Anna's evidence, but she hid. The risk was absolutely immense. Going to the police meant losing everything she had ever worked for, everything her family had sacrificed. You know what broke through the paralysis? A phone call from a number she didn't recognize. It was Anna's mother, Remedios, calling all the way from Cebu City. It turns out Anna had left a note in her journal. "Trust her. She will know what happened." After Grace confessed everything, Remedios said, "Go do it now, before you find another reason to wait." And that was all it took. Grace got out of bed, picked up the phone, and called Detective Carmen Reyes, a cold case expert whose reputation she'd already researched. She laid out the entire case in one single breath, and that afternoon she turned over every single piece of Anna's meticulously organized evidence. With Grace's evidence as a roadmap, the case came together with stunning speed. The truck was found, linked to Holt through a shell company. Surveillance footage captured the driver. The financial records confirmed the motive. And exhumations confirmed all the medical evidence. The foundation these 2 nurses had built became an absolutely ironclad prosecution. After a 7-week trial that basically gripped the entire city, the jury deliberated for 9 hours. The courtroom was dead silent, just waiting for the fall of a man who had used a sacred trust as a weapon. The foreman read the verdicts, his voice just cutting through the silent courtroom. For Raymond K., guilty. For Patricia G., guilty. For Harold S., guilty. For Donna P., guilty. And for Anna Santos, guilty. 5 counts of first-degree murder. 1 for each patient he killed for profit, and 1 for the nurse who dared to expose him. And then the sentence: 5 consecutive life terms, no possibility of parole. Dr. Daniel Holt, the brilliant surgeon, would spend the rest of his life inside a prison cell, the final brutal architecture of a life that was built entirely on lies. You know, it's a story of incredible darkness, but it's also one of profound bravery. And it really leaves us with this question: how often does courage look less like some big, single heroic act, and more like a quiet, dangerous decision to simply finish what someone else started?